Hey, it's Dr. Nuesse from EasyDOTphysicals.com, back again with another video. This video is going to be the top do's and don'ts before an upcoming drug test. These are the things that you should definitely do before a drug test, and you should definitely not do before a drug test, again, if you are potentially concerned about testing positive. And this is going to be based on my multiple years of experience in the industry. These are the things that I've heard cause delays, cause retests, really are just things that if you either do or do not do, make the drug testing process go much more smoothly. And the first set are going to be specifically about the urine drug testing, the most common ways of drug testing, but I do have one about hair testing specifically that you need to know as well. So let's get right into the list. All right, and we will start with a do. Please disclose all of your prescription medication, and this is very simple to do. When you go in to have your drug test performed, they will give you a sheet of paper where you can write down all of your prescriptions. Now, some people are on multiple medications, and sometimes you forget exactly what the medication is. You know you're taking a blood pressure medication or a cholesterol medication, but you don't remember the exact name. You want to have that list. Every medication, the name of that medication written down on a piece of paper, bring that in with you to the drug test, and they will let you, again, write out all of your medications. Why this is important is a lot of prescription medications can cause false positives on a drug test, can cause you to fail a drug test. If you write a list down and you potentially test positive for a drug that you are not using, the MRO, the medical review officer, can look at that list of medications and potentially change the result of the drug test from a failure to passing the drug test, because again, he thinks or she thinks that one of the medications potentially caused the positive result. So make sure you have a list of all of your medications by name and bring that medication list in during your drug test. All right, we have another do here. Please test yourself at home using a home drug test multiple times, multiple days leading up to that official drug test. This is cheap, it is simple, it is something you can do in the privacy of your own home. There is no excuse not to know if you're going to pass or fail that drug test, because you can home test very easily. I will leave links in the description box below of this video to my preferred home drug testing kits, and they come in multiple packs because I want you testing multiple times. One home drug test is not going to give you very much information because levels, especially THC levels, can fluctuate a little bit in your system. So you want to test at least 3, 4, maybe 5 times to make sure you're consistently passing that home drug test to be very confident in taking that official test. So test yourself at home, again, multiple times leading up to that official drug test. All right, let's switch over to a don't. Please do not overhydrate. Drink a whole bunch of water right before the drug test to try to flush out metabolites from your system. I know this sounds like a good idea, and I want you to be hydrated, but just chugging water, well, first of all, that can be very dangerous to your health, but also the reality is if you do flush the metabolites out of your system, you're also flushing electrolytes and proteins from your system as well at the same time, and this causes you to have a dilute sample. And a dilute sample cannot be accepted, and it will cause you to have to retest. So really, there's no way to flush the metabolites out of your system without diluting your sample. So really, you're doing yourself no good by overhydrating. So please, stay hydrated, of course, but overhydrating, one, can be potentially dangerous to your health, and number 2, it will not help you pass a drug test. All right. Back to another do. Please do everything you can to help boost your metabolism or the rate at which you detox. There's certainly nothing wrong with taking steps to boost your metabolism so the substances that are in your system are eliminated in a timely fashion. And we have prepared an entire course on what to do that's obviously not YouTube friendly, but again, I will leave a free link to this class in the description of this video. So again, there's nothing wrong, and it's not cheating to do whatever you can to boost your metabolism and the rate at which you detox. So please, that is a big do. All right, another don't here. Don't use drugs at least 1 week before the official drug test. I know it's the old cliche of don't use drugs right before a drug test. I know that doesn't seem like it helps very much, it's obvious, but I'm actually giving you a time frame here. 1 week is about the minimum amount of time, even if you take all of the proper steps that your body needs to detox. Anything inside of that week, really all you can do to pass a drug test is hope and pray. So just stop using at least a week before that official drug test, because again, that's the minimum amount of time that your body needs to detox. So I'm not saying you can't use drugs anytime in the past, but at least you want to stop 1 week before that official test. All right, another don't here, and again, this one is going to be THC specific. Please do not, and I've talked about this in multiple videos in great detail because of how important it is, don't go on a diet right before a drug test. THC, when you ingest it, it gets trapped in fat cells. And if you go on a diet or do a bunch of cardio exercise, you're just trying to sweat the metabolites out, the THC in your fat cells can be released into your bloodstream. And even if you haven't used recently, that can recontaminate your system, that breakdown of body fat. And that can potentially lead to a positive drug test result for THC marijuana. Again, even if you have not used recently. So please, don't try to diet, don't try to lose weight, don't do a bunch of cardio to try to sweat it out. That is actually going to have the opposite effect that you are trying to have, which is to detox. It's actually going to recontaminate you potentially and cause you to have a higher chance of testing positive for THC. All right, I've got another do, and this one is hair testing specific. So if your employer requires you to have a hair drug test, this will be applicable to you. So make sure that the hair on your head is at least 1.5 inches long. So what they're looking for is about a 3-month window, and your hair grows about 1/2 inch per month. So about 1.5 inches is what they're looking for. Now, if the hair on your head, they cannot get the appropriate sample, meaning it's much shorter than 1.5 inches, they potentially will look for hair on different parts of your body, maybe your chest hair, maybe your underarm hair or leg hair. And that hair can store drug metabolites for much longer because it grows much slower. So if they can't get the sample from your head, you're at higher risk for testing positive for longer using body hair. So if you have a long enough hair on your head, they can get that sample. And I'm not saying that's going to test negative as a guarantee, but there will be a less of a chance for you testing positive using a hair sample from your head rather than body hair. So just growing out your hair a little bit will lessen that chance. So grow your hair out to at least 1.5 inches before that hair drug test. All right, another do here is do understand the test that you are taking. So it's important to at least have a brief understanding of the test that you're taking and what it's about. So you want to know what's being tested for. Is it a federal 5-panel? Is THC actually excluded? A lot of tests now will have a 5-panel test, but they'll actually exclude THC. Is it a hair test? Is it a urine test? Is it a saliva test? The type of test matters and the amount of times that you can test positive for. And again, I've done multiple videos on times that you can test for different methods, the saliva test, the blood test, the hair test, the urine test. And you also want to know what are the consequences for testing positive? Not getting hired potentially, being put in an off-duty status. Maybe there are legal implications. Maybe there are custody issues. So this issue should be readily available, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking for it. It is 100% your right. So do ask these questions if you need those answers and understand the test that you're taking. All right, and we'll end here on a don't, and this is a big one. Please don't try to cheat on the drug test. And what I mean by cheat is either alter the sample in some way, swap out the sample, or use a fake sample. And I know this might be very, very tempting, but it's just not worth it, especially if you take the proper precautions beforehand. The consequences for cheating on a drug test, if you get caught, obviously it will be counted as a failed drug test. But in many states now, there are pretty significant legal consequences, fines, and even potentially jail time. I've done a complete video on each state and their laws around fraudulently trying to cheat on a drug test. So it's just not worth it to try to cheat on the drug test. Again, I hope this was very helpful and informative. Please leave me any questions in the comments section below. Like this video to spread the word, and stay subscribed because I will be back with more updates. Until next time, everybody, stay safe.